I'm Danielle Beerley, the founder and executive director of Empower Her, Inc. Empower Her is a women and girls community center located in Bethany, Connecticut, and is open to all women and girls from the surrounding communities. Empower Her's mission is to connect with, encourage, and support women and girls to promote their social and emotional well-being within their lives and their communities. Empower Her's vision is to educate and empower women and girls through programs and events. Empower Her also believes in creating strong ties within the community and has formed many relationships with various organizations and businesses. Through doing so, Empower Her has collaborated to bring a variety of additional programming and resources to women and girls in the community. This documentary highlights 4 women entrepreneurs in our community. From them, you will hear stories that led them into their careers, how they view entrepreneurship, and maybe even be inspired to go into one of their fields.
My name is Rachel Dempsey, and I am the owner of Bethany Florist and Gift Shop.
My name is Carrie Rainey Maxwell, and I'm a general dentist.
My name is Dr. Catherine Jackson, and I am a small animal veterinarian.
I'm Katie Hauser, and I'm a chiropractor.
Well, who doesn't want to be an entrepreneur? I am 25 years old. I grew up in Bethany. I went to Amity High. I graduated 2009. And I have owned the shop now for 2.5 years. I think being an entrepreneur, really, like the idea of being one kind of drew me in because I like to work for myself. I usually find myself in leadership positions no matter what job I had, even in high school. I was part of SAD, and I was, head of this club, head of that club. Or when I was in college, I started 3 organizations, a dance company, a modeling agency, and it only seemed right that I should be my own boss. And once I started my business, I don't think I could ever go back to working for someone else. I ended up owning this business. Well, when I graduated school in 2013, I ended up coming home, trying to figure out who I am and where I was going. And I had a job as a manager of a Free People store, and I just wasn't quite happy there. And I walked into the florist one day, and it was one of those universal shift kind of things where everything lined up, and I was looking to change my life, and she was looking to move on with hers. And the owner of the store and I just kind of clicked, and now I own it. The challenges I faced purchasing an existing business were an age issue, loans. I had issues getting loans, mostly because I was 23 when I bought the business, and the banks looked at me like, you don't know what you're doing, which I think was unfair. And I think being a woman owning a florist seemed very stereotypical, and I think that too played a role in making it very, very hard. I had so many doubts when I purchased. I think I cried every day for the first 3 months, like, this is not what I should be doing, but I made it 2 years. So the doubts were very strong, and they were definitely, kind of haunted my dreams, but I knew that this was a good thing to do, so I kind of just kept pushing through. My mom inspired me. She's actually the real reason why I'm here, because on all those nights where I sat on the top of my stairs just crying, she would just tell me to suck it up. There's nothing more fun that I would be doing right now. I could still be working at a retail shop in a mall up in Hartford. And she is the one who just encouraged me to just keep going and don't take no for an answer, pretty much. My mom is probably the strongest person I'll ever know, and I could thank her for everything she's done. I have learned so much since I started my business. I have learned how to be a better leader, how to interact with so many personalities. My customers are everything. They come in, during Mother's Day, they're coming in offering me cups of coffee and this and food. And so I learned that community is a big part of being an entrepreneur. You want to be a part of whatever community you are in. And I'm just learning that every day is a challenge. Every day is different, but every day is fun and unique, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
I'm a general dentist. I've been practicing dentistry for 14 years, which I cannot believe because time just goes by so quickly. 9 years I spent in a group practice, and then I've gone off on my own, and it's almost been 5 years, and that's just really amazing to me. I worked for a woman dentist when I was in college, and that is really what inspired me to become a dentist. Seeing her care and compassion with people, and the way she developed relationships with them, and how she was able to work with her hands and have a very artistic part of her come through in her work as well. I decided on a liberal arts college because it had a little bit of everything, and I've always been interested in lots of facets of life. But I focused on a science background really from the beginning. That was definitely something that had always interested me. Just the fascination of something microscopic to something so huge, and the word infinity. I mean, I have an office called Infinity Dental Care. I did have such a connection to that word and such a fondness, and I have such a love for my family, and so we would use that word. And I said, you know what, I think I can incorporate that in my business. And since I have such a passion for people, I can bring that endless passion into my fields and into my practice. And so that is really where the word infinity came from. I wanted it to be all about my patients. I didn't care about a paycheck. I was willing to go, without getting paid for a couple years at the beginning. And it was all about giving them the utmost care that I could possibly offer to them. And that is the number one reason why I opened my own practice. I was pregnant with my daughter, and once I had her, people said, how can you open your own practice with an infant? And it was anyone who has multiple children, not just one, but multiple children can relate, because it's actually easier when they're infants, and she could just come with me in her little Bajorn and come to all the meetings and come to everything I had to do. Obviously, I couldn't work with patients with her in my Bajorn, but everything else that entailed setting up the actual building and practice, she could be a part of. And so that's what I did. I just brought her right along. And the rest of my family, from my husband to my parents to my other two daughters, my office manager, my assistant, every person was really pivotal in helping me accomplish my goals. And I think that's true for anyone that is successful, that the people around them, if they have a good support system and good help, it just makes everything a heck of a lot easier. And I definitely had that, so I attribute my success to them, really, and their help and guidance, and just always being there for me. I have faced significant stigma, just, I would say, developing into the person that I am today. Everything from, the dumb blonde to, being a woman, to being a mother, and just being a girl, alone. Sometimes that, certainly to some people, they think you look too young, and all of those things. The naysayers, they think that you can't do it, but I think that, sticking to the goal and of wanting to become a dentist and wanting to open my own practice and trying to have goals as much as possible was certainly a part of my path. I kept telling myself to enjoy the journey and not the destination. That was my quote that I would continue to say to motivate myself.
I am a small animal veterinarian and practice owner of Bethany Veterinary Hospital. It was just kind of a natural progression for me because I had first gotten out of vet school. I graduated over 25 years ago, and first I worked as an associate for 8 years, 2 different practices, and then I decided I didn't want to work for anybody, so I worked for myself and did relief work, which is called, you fill in for veterinarians when they go on vacation or if they need help, and I did that for almost 10 years. And then, my life changed. I was, I think, pregnant with my second kid or third kid, I can't remember. And I decided I can't keep doing that work because it was too difficult. And I didn't want to go back to working for anybody else. So at that point in my life, it just made sense that I had to be my own boss, buy my own practice, and be in charge. Ever since I was a little kid, it sounds corny, but that's what I've always wanted to do. And I remember when I was a senior in college and I was applying to vet school, and I was thinking, Kathy, you need a plan B. And I applied to some grad programs, and it just was not anything that interested me. And thankfully, I got into vet school because that's all I really wanted to do. My father is a human physician. He's a family practitioner, and he used to try to get me to, he wanted to convince me to become a human doctor. And I never wanted to, and my mother always stood by me, and she supported my decision because she knew I wanted to be a veterinarian. I did not want to be a physician. So I would say I have to admire her for just encouraging me to stick by my guns. What I do think is special about the veterinary field is it is majority women. So I think it's been at least over 5 years since the entire veterinary field has been dominated by women versus men. And that was a big turning point nationally because I don't know, that's probably not true for the human physicians. I mean, I think that's majority men, but in the veterinary field, it's mostly women. I think part of the reason why it has turned into a predominantly female career is because it offers a lot of flexibility. You know, even through my career, it's changed. I was working, you know, in a mixed animal practice, meaning rural New Hampshire, and then I was doing small animals, and then I did emergency, and I did, you know, relief work, and now I'm a practice owner. So the beauty of my career is just the flexibility, and you know, that's what I love my job. And I think whatever you do, hopefully it's something you're passionate about, like I am. I know at the end of the day, or every day when I wake up, hey, I own a business and I try my best, and I like to think how fortunate I am to help others, help their pets, and I feel like as the owner of a practice, you're a real important role model for your staff, and I think it just makes me feel good that I'm helping, you know, my staff. I'm helping the clients and their pets. It's just, that's, I think, the biggest benefit is just you feel like you're helping. I almost sometimes wonder, we shouldn't have to think, okay, well, it's a girl-boy world out there, it's, you know, female-male. I mean, really, we're all just people, and we're all entitled to the same rights and opportunities. So I think just don't even try to worry too much about, well, I'm a girl and I'm gonna, you know, I've got to work harder. You know, just do your thing and it'll come.
My name is Katie Hauser. I'm a chiropractor. I've been in practice for 25 years, and I own Thrive Chiropractic and Wellness. I also have another side gig, which is Katie's Kitchen, which I just started, and I bake and sell granola. Most people come in to see me because they're in some kind of pain, spinal pain. So when patients come in, a new patient would fill out information, and then I take them into the back, and hopefully they've already had x-rays taken. So I utilize x-rays to be able to really specifically look at their spine. But I do an exam that measures temperature, it measures how well their muscles are functioning, and then I palpate the spine to see where the vertebrae aren't moving correctly. And then what I do is physically make an adjustment. The style of chiropractic that I do is called Gonstead, which Dr. Gonstead was a chiropractor back in the 1920s, 30s. He was an engineer before he became a chiropractor, and then he applied that engineering eye to the spine. So there's only 5 Gonstead chiropractors in the state of Connecticut. So that is definitely something unique, and then being a woman is definitely, we're still totally outnumbered as far as men to women in our field. So being a female chiropractor, but then also being a female Gonstead chiropractor is definitely something a little more specialized. So this office space is large enough that I can share it with several different people. It's really great because it creates a little community within our center. And it's also great because we're all women, and so we're all supporting each other, and bouncing ideas off of each other as far as how to increase business, how to get our names out there, advertising, marketing, and even doing events together. So that's been really fun, and it just makes being here great. I never thought I was going to be an entrepreneur. I just thought, oh, I'm a chiropractor and I'm going to have my own practice. And they don't really in school prepare you for the fact that, yes, in fact, you are an entrepreneur. So all of that part of it is been very challenging, I think, and it's the thing that most of us as chiropractors don't come into it really fully understanding or grasping the fact that we've got to have a handle on that. It was a little challenging to come out of a marriage and then try to start a practice again and be financially stable. It's just such a different world for women being in business than it is for men, and especially if you're a mom and you're trying to be a mother, trying to be a wife, trying to run your own business. All of that is much more complicated. But when I started looking at the payoff of running my own business, there's a huge, I have freedom. I can do whatever I want. I can have whatever hours I want. I'm not, beholden to anybody. So there is a real beautiful thing about owning your own business, even though the price tag comes with all the other stuff that we have to do to run that business. I have a daughter that I'm always trying to inspire, and I would have to say really just to follow your passion, and if you don't know what that is, just work at that. Follow things that you love to do, things that you've done since you were a kid that make you happy when you're doing them, and follow that. Follow those breadcrumbs of what it is that you love to do, because it will lead you to a place where you can find something that you can provide to the rest of the world.
My message to girls would be to have goals, to keep having goals.
Just aim high. I mean, when you guys are young and you're figuring out what you want to do with your life, I think of life as a lot of open doors and a lot of opportunities.
Get out there and do it. Just don't let anybody hold you back.
If you always go that extra mile for yourself and for the people around you, then things will just continue to be very positive.
You should always try. Worst thing that's going to happen is maybe you don't succeed. You'll definitely learn from that experience, but you just don't want to sell yourself short and close any doors on yourself.
Don't let anything get in your way. Follow your passion, do what you love, and it will all work out in the end. And just because we're women or girls doesn't matter, and we can get out there and do exactly what we want to do.